Chapter 4, Chemical Quantities and Aqueous Reactions. So your book covers several sort of environmental interest topics, and I think it's helpful to talk about these because they help us to understand the importance of chemistry, but I'm not going to test you on the greenhouse effect. Okay. So the greenhouse effect is a very important thing because it's what causes our planet to be warm enough for us to live on. So there are greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, and they function to catch some of the heat from the sun. So the sunlight passes through the atmosphere, warms the earth, and then the greenhouse gases trap some of that heat instead of just letting it go off into outer space. So the greenhouse gases give us a balance. If we have too many, we're going to get too warm. Not enough, we get too cold. Right? So global warming is something that's a big topic right now. Since 1860, scientists have measured an average increase in temperature, average atmospheric temperature of 0.7 degrees Celsius. Okay? So we can look at a graph of carbon dioxide and a graph of temperature over these same time periods, and we see that the atmospheric carbon dioxide has risen as well. And so it can be tempting to say, well, the carbon dioxide must be what's causing the increase in the global temperature. But this information presented here does not prove that. They could be coincidentally related, or they might be causal. It's a little hard to figure that out. So, where am I going with that? I don't remember. Where does all that CO2 come from? Well, of course, one source of CO2 is combustion of fossil fuels. Natural gas, gasoline, oil, coal, all of those sorts of things. When we burn them, that generates CO2. One reaction chemical equation we can describe that with is the combustion of octane. It generates CO2 in water. Another source of CO2 is volcanic action. So volcanoes are constantly spitting out CO2 into the atmosphere. How can we judge whether global warming is natural? Maybe it's due to volcanic action, that CO2, or is it due to our use of fossil fuels? And really, we can't even say, is the global warming from the CO2? But we could definitely look at what is the increased CO2 coming from?